Good day everyone, we are the group 6 and today we'll
Rule
be
10.
discussing
Traffic
Colering's
Separation
Rule 10
Schemes.
which pertains to the
A.
traffic separation
This rule
scheme.
applies to traffic
This rule
separation
applies to
schemes
the
adopted
traffic
by the
separation schemes
organization
adopted by the
does not
International
relieve any
Maritime
vessel of her
Organization or
obligation under
IMO.
any other rule.
Good day
So this
everyone, we
rule
are the group
emphasizes
6 and
that
today we'll be
it
discussing
specifically pertains
Colering's
to
Rule 10
traffic
which
separation
pertains to the
scheme
traffic
established
separation
by
scheme.
maritime
This rule
organizations.
applies to
It
the
doesn't
traffic
exempt any
separation schemes
vessel from
adopted by the
complying with
International
other
Maritime
navigation rules
Organization
and
or IMO.
regulations in place,
Good day
making it clear
everyone, we
that
are the
vessel
group
must
6 and today we'll
adhere
be
to all
discussing
relevant rules
Colering's Rule 10 which pertains to the traffic
simultaneously
separation
without
scheme.
exception.
This rule
So
applies to
B, on the
the
other
traffic
hand, a
separation
vessel
schemes
using
adopted by
traffic
the
separation
International Maritime
scheme shall
Organization or
proceed
IMO.
in the appropriate
Good day
traffic lane in the
everyone, we are the
general
group
direction
6
of
and today we'll be
a traffic
discussing
flow for that
Colering's
lane.
Rule 10 which
Means that the
pertains to the
vessel
traffic
should
separation
navigate
scheme.
within the
This rule
designated lane
applies
of a
to
traffic
the traffic
separation
separation
scheme
schemes adopted by
according
the
to the
International
direction in
Maritime
which
Organization
vessels
or
are
IMO.
expected to travel in that
Good day
lane.
everyone, we are the
So
group 6 and
here's a
today we'll be
breakdown.
discussing Colering's Rule 10 which
Appropriate
pertains to the
traffic
traffic
lane.
separation scheme.
Each traffic
This rule applies to
separation
the traffic
scheme
separation
typically
schemes
consists of
adopted by the
multiple
International
lanes,
Maritime
much like
Organization
lanes
or
on road.
IMO.
So these lanes
Good day
are
everyone, we are
established
the
to
group 6 and
separate
today we'll be
incoming
discussing
and
Colering's Rule 10
outgoing
which
maritime
pertains to the
traffic
traffic
or
separation
to
scheme.
manage traffic flow in
This rule
congested
applies to
areas.
the traffic
This
separation schemes
appropriate lane
adopted by
is
the
the
International Maritime
one designated
Organization
for the
or
direction
IMO.
in which vessels want
Good
to
day
travel.
everyone, we are the group 6
Second
and
is
today
the
we'll be
general
discussing
direction of a traffic flow.
Colering's Rule 10 which
Vessels
pertains to
should
the
follow the
traffic separation
established flow
scheme.
of maritime traffic
This rule
within their
applies to
chosen
the
lane.
traffic
So
separation
this
schemes
means that
adopted
if
by the
the lane is
International Maritime
designed for a
Organization or
vessel to move
IMO.
from one point to
Good
another,
day
or
everyone, we
example
are the
from
group
open
6 and
sea into
today we'll be
harbor,
discussing
they should navigate in
Colering's
that
Rule 10
direction.
which pertains to the traffic
So it
separation
helps
scheme.
prevent collision
This rule
and
applies to the
ensures an
traffic separation
orderly
schemes
and
adopted by the International
safe
Maritime
flow of
Organization or
vessels.
IMO. Good day everyone, we are the group 6.
Routine of the International Regulation of Preventing Collision at Sea or COLRIG is about how ships should behave when they are in or near areas where there is a lot of ship traffic. These areas are called traffic separation schemes and are set up by the International Maritime Organization or IMO. Traffic separation schemes are designed to separate opposing streams of traffic by establishing lanes for vessels to follow, reducing the risk of collision and making navigation easier. Rule 10 provides specific guidance on how vessels should navigate within the schemes, including requirements for safe speed, avoiding crossing traffic lanes, and using appropriate sound and light signals. By following Rule 10 and adhering to the guidelines set forth in the traffic separation schemes, ship can help ensure the safety of all vessels at sea. Here's an example of a traffic separation scheme, and I'll give you some short explanation of each term. First is a separation zone on line. These are areas in the water where boats and ships are required to keep a certain distance from each other to prevent collision. Second is inshore traffic zone. This is a designated area of water near the shore that is used for the passage of small vessels. Example given are fishing vessels and small crafts. The third is separation lane. Separation lane is a lane in the water that separates two opposing streams of traffic. It is typically marked by a separation line or zone. And lastly is termination. Termination in a traffic separation scheme refers to the end of traffic lane.
Rule 10. The traffic separation schemes. A. This rule applies to traffic separation schemes adopted by the organization, does not relieve any vessel of her obligation under any other rule. So this rule emphasizes that it specifically pertains to traffic separation scheme established by maritime organizations. It doesn't exempt any vessel from complying with other navigation rules and regulations in place, making it clear that vessel must adhere to all relevant rules simultaneously without exception. So B, on the other hand, a vessel using traffic separation scheme shall proceed in the appropriate traffic lane in the general direction of a traffic flow for that lane. Means that the vessel should navigate within the designated lane of a traffic separation scheme according to the direction in which vessels are expected to travel in that lane. So here's a breakdown. Appropriate traffic lane. Each traffic separation scheme typically consists of multiple lanes, much like lanes on road. So these lanes are established to separate incoming and outgoing maritime traffic or to manage traffic flow in congested areas. This appropriate lane is the one designated for the direction in which vessels want to travel. Second is the general direction of a traffic flow. Vessels should follow the established flow of maritime traffic within their chosen lane. So this means that if the lane is designed for a vessel to move from one point to another, or example from open sea into harbor, they should navigate in that direction. So it helps prevent collision and ensures an orderly and safe flow of vessels. Subparagraph 2b, the phrase so far as practicable keep clear of a traffic separation line or a separation zone means that vessels should do their best to avoid crossing or entering the areas marked by traffic separation lines or separation zones. This rule advises vessel to stay out of a traffic separation line and separation zone whenever possible. However, if safely requires it, vessels may temporarily enter these areas but should exercise caution and minimize their presence to prevent potential collision or hazards. The overall goal is to maintain safe and orderly maritime traffic flow. Sa the subparagraph 3b, on the other hand, this rule provides guidance on how vessels should enter or exit a traffic lane within a traffic separation scheme. Here's a more detailed explanation. In joining or leaving at termination of the lane, normally vessels should enter or exit a traffic lane at the point where the lanes ends. This means they should transition into or out of the lane when it naturally opens up into unrestricted waters or at a designated entry or exit point. Join or leave at a small angle. However, if a vessel needs to enter or exit a traffic lane from a position other than the termination point, it should do so at uh, as small an as small an angle as possible to the general direction of a traffic flow within that lane. In other words, the vessel should approach or leave the lane in a manner that aligns with the flow of a traffic to minimize the risk of collision. So this rule aims to ensure that vessels enter or exit traffic lanes in a way that maintains the safe and orderly movement of maritime traffic. By following these guidelines, vessels reduce the chances of disrupting the flow of vessels within the lane and reduce the risk of accident. It emphasizes the importance of a predictability and minimizing crossing angles when navigating through busy Letter
Joel.
C said that a vessel shall, so far as practicable, avoid crossing lanes, but if obliged to do so, shall cross on a heading as nearly as practicable at right angles to the general direction of a traffic flow. So this rule provides on how vessels should navigate when they need to cross traffic lanes within a traffic separation scheme. So here's a more detailed explanation. Avoid crossing traffic lanes. Vessels should make every effort to avoid crossing traffic lanes within a traffic separation scheme whenever possible. So this means they should stay within their designated lines and not venture into other lanes. The goal is to maintain the orderly flow of maritime traffic and reduce the risk of collision. Second is cross at right angles when obliged to do so. If a vessel must cross a traffic lane due to navigational necessities, for example, reaching a destination or avoiding hazard, it should do so by crossing at a heading that is close to a right angle or 90 degrees, as possible to the general direction of a traffic flow within the lane. In simpler terms, the vessel should cross the traffic lane perpendicular to the flow of a traffic. So by crossing at right angles, vessels maximize their visibility to other vessels within the traffic lane and minimize the time when uh, they spend within the lane, reducing the likelihood of potential collision. So this rule emphasizes the importance of safety and predictability in navigating through areas with heavy maritime traffic. So D and its subparagraph said that a vessel shall not use uninsured traffic zones when she can safely use the appropriate traffic lane within the adjacent traffic separation scheme. However, vessels of less than 20 meters in length, sailing vessels, and vessels engaged in fishing may use the insured traffic zones. Subparagraph 2D, notwithstanding subparagraph D1, a vessel may use an insured traffic zone when en route to or from port, offshore installation or structure, pilot station or any other place situated within the insured traffic zone or to avoid immediate danger. E said that a vessel other than a crossing vessel or a vessel joining or leaving a lane shall not normally enter a traffic or a separation zone or a cross separation line except in a case of emergency to avoid immediate danger and to engage in fishing within a separation zone.
F. A vessel navigating in areas near the terminations of traffic separation scheme shall do so with particular caution. So, a vessel must use her extra caution when navigating in regions close to where traffic separation schemes end. G. A vessel shall so far as practicable avoid anchoring in a traffic separation scheme or in areas near its termination. So, a vessel must avoid anchoring in traffic separation schemes or regions close to their terminations as much as is practical. H. A vessel not using a separation scheme shall avoid it by as wide a margin as is practicable. So, a vessel that is not employing a traffic separation scheme must stay clear of it by any means necessary. I. A vessel engaged in fishing shall not impede the passage of any vessel following a traffic lane. So, a fishing boat must not block the way of any boat that is following a traffic lane. J. A vessel of less than 20 meters in length or a sailing vessel shall not impede the safe passage of a power-driven vessel following a traffic lane. So, when a power-driven vessel following a traffic lane may not be impeded by a vessel shorter than 20 meters in length or a sailing vessel. K. A vessel restricted in her ability to maneuver when engaged in an operation for the maintenance of safety of navigation in a traffic separation scheme is exempted from complying with this rule to the extent necessary to carry out the operation. A vessel with limited maneuverability participating in an operation to maintain navigational safety under a traffic separation scheme is exempt from complying with this rule to the degree necessary to carry out the operation. Lastly, L. A vessel restricted in her ability to maneuver when engaged in an operation for laying, servicing, or picking up of a submarine cable with a traffic separation scheme is exempted from complying with this rule to the extent necessary to carry out the operation. So, a vessel that is restricted in her capacity to maneuver while working within a traffic separation scheme to lay, service, or pick up a submarine cable is exempt from complying with this rule to the amount required to complete the operation.
When a vessel is in a traffic separation scheme, it has to obey all rules, including rules of the traffic separation scheme. While using the traffic separation scheme, you should navigate in the direction of the lane and not in opposite direction. The course line should be drawn parallel or nearly parallel to the direction of the lane. Draw the course at the center of the lane and clear of the edges. Entering or leaving traffic separation scheme. Make the course line join the traffic separation scheme at the beginning or at the end. If vessel has to join in the middle, then it should do at a very small angle to the traffic separation scheme. Similarly, when leaving in the middle, the angle should be small. Crossing the traffic separation scheme. If possible, vessel should avoid crossing traffic lanes. If cannot avoid, then cross the traffic lane with a heading which is about 90 degrees to the traffic separation scheme. This would be the shortest distance and prevent confusion for other vessels. Similarly, if you want to exit the traffic separation scheme, first move to the edge of the lane at a small angle. Then, cross the opposite lane at 90 degrees or nearly so. IMO has demarcated the inshore traffic zones. These are not to be used by large vessels. Only vessels less than 20 meters, or 65.62 feet in length, sailing vessels, and vessels engaged in fishing are allowed to use them. Ships may use the inshore traffic zone only in emergencies. A vessel may also use the inshore traffic zone in cases when approaching port, offshore installation, or pilot station. When joining or leaving the traffic separation scheme, the ship should be alert. Lookouts should be posted, at least 2 radars working, the engines should be on standby, and the helmsman should be alert. All emergency measures prior to entering the traffic separation scheme should be tried out as per the company's policy. Anchoring is not permitted within the traffic separation scheme or around its terminations, except in emergencies. If you are not using the traffic separation scheme, you should be as far away as possible from it. This will prevent confusion for the ships which are heading to or leaving the traffic separation scheme. The fishing vessels, while fishing, should not come into the traffic separation scheme. The small vessels less than 20 meters, or 65.62 feet in length, should not come and disturb the passage of a ship following a traffic separation scheme. Such vessels can sail along the inshore traffic zone. There are ships which are involved in operations such as repairing or renewing the buoy in the traffic separation scheme. Such vessels are restricted in their ability to maneuver and are exempted from complying with the rules for the vessels in the traffic separation scheme. Similarly, vessels carrying out the operation for laying, servicing, or picking up a submarine cable in the traffic separation scheme are also exempted from these rules. According to Rule 10E, a vessel other than a crossing vessel or a vessel joining or leaving a lane shall not normally enter a separation zone or cross a separation line except 1. In cases of emergency to avoid immediate danger. 2. To engage in fishing within a separation zone. According to Rule 10J, a vessel of less than 20 meters, or 65.62 feet in length, or a sailing vessel shall not impede the safe passage of a power-driven vessel following a traffic lane.